Good Sunday morning to everyone. My name is Rick Marrera and I'm back here in the garden. Today, this video, I'm just going to show you random stuff and then I will show you part two of my Koko Ranch collection. Last time, my last video, I didn't have time to cover them all, so I have another, I think about 15 plants I want to show you guys. So since Sunday, last Sunday, I had a tree guy come and trim all my palm trees because they have to be done every year. And it exposed this area to a lot more sun. So I hope a lot of these plants will adjust, and I just moved a few, but I think most of them will be okay because of that oak tree over there is pretty big. So let me just show you a few things. This is UT33. The leaves are kind of like very textured and waffly looking. This guy is actually growing in 4 hours of Florida sunshine. I'm trying to encourage it to bloom, so I have it out here. And it seems to be doing well. And this is like peak, almost peak sun for it in Florida. And we'll see what happens to it. I don't think it'll get more stressed than it is, but it's impressive that it's growing under this much sun and this species is still pretty green. That's UT33. And this is that Aphanis morillii, or some call it the super red leaf. I have another one in the greenhouse, but wanted to test one out here in 4 hours of sun, and it is getting pretty red. So, and usually this kind of red I get in the winter when the temperatures drop and they get a lot of sun. It's a lot easier for me here in Florida to get the red without grow lights. So here's the Cattleya. It's kind of, I think it's 3 weeks and it's going down now, but it's still fragrant. And let's see, there's a couple of things here that I wanted to show you. There's a little, can't find it now. Well, there's a little Bulbophyllum I got as a gift a couple weeks ago, and I just noticed there's a bloom on it. I think I'll find it. And here's my sunrise. This color is actually from winter. When it gets cold and sunny, they get that color. But right now it's under the trees, so it's not getting a lot of sun. But it's a very healthy plant. And I want to show you again this beautiful Layla purpurata. It's really gorgeous. And there's a Carl Smith orchid over there. As you can see, there's another flush of blooms back there. And this plant is in dire need of being repotted. You can see all the roots taking over it. It's been here for about 3 years, and it's a really rampant grower. It's called a Lime Cooler by Carl Smith. And it's really a beautiful, fragrant orchid. I really like that striped red lip. And like I said, it's super easy, fast growing, exciting. So again, I have the occultata in bloom and another peduncle behind it in bloom. So if you remember from our last videos, these flowers are the longest flowers I've ever had. They lasted 22 days, and these have been open for about 2 weeks, so I'm assuming they'll last again for at least 3 weeks. And so it could possibly bloom all summer long because it keeps putting out a new set of leaves and a new peduncle. So I'm really happy with this Hoya. It's really a stunner. You can see. And here's my Icensis. Beautiful, beautiful color. I like that dark rim. And this peduncle only gave me 5 flowers. And oh, here's that that little tiny mounted cute little thing, this Bulbophyllum that I got from Dana as a gift. And look at it, it's putting out a bloom. I have no idea what the flowers look like, but if I give you the name of it, you may want to Google it. It's Bulbophyllum classuglossum. And I wanted to give you guys an update on my Jose Buono, Philodendron Jose Buono. It's put out a really nice new leaf again. Puts out one like almost every week. This one is not as variegated as that one, but it has all kinds of like a Thai constellation type splatter. So it's kind of interesting. And this is like an older Philodendron Jose Buono leaf, and this leaf is like 2 weeks old, and it is, as you can see, it's pretty big. It's about 2 feet long. So since I'm over here, let me show you again the Brighton, KOKO Ranch Hoya Brighton. I really like the size of the leaf and how textured they can be. You can't really see it in video, but you can see it better on this one. And down here is Hoya Joel. I had like about a yard long vine, so I cut it back. Sometimes I cut a Hoya back and it actually encourages it to grow, because if you cut it the right way, so I cut that long vine, so now it's probably going to encourage this plant to branch out a little more. So this is Hoya Joel. And now, as promised, part 2 of my Koko Ranch collection, and a couple of new acquisitions that I got, or maybe just one. So let me start over here. The Hoya Dr. Ibach. It's one of the fastest growing, easy to bloom Hoyas to have. So if you don't have this one, you'll be pleased with its vigor and its ability to put out flowers. And that's one thing about hybrids. Sometimes hybrids are a lot better growers than species plants. So, and another really good grower that gets really nice coloring for me in the winter when it gets sun and cool. And this is Hoya Russell. And as you can see, it's an attractive foliage plant, and I believe it's a cross of Illigorium and Viola. So the flowers are orange. It's pretty interesting. And over here is one that a lot of people probably haven't heard of. It is Hoya Perfection. I believe it has joy in it. As you can see, it has that typical dark edge. The leaf is a little bit spoon-like, and it's also a very attractive plant. It has some splash and a nice point to it on all the leaves. So yeah, this is Hoya Perfection. You can see this plant, I've had it probably about 8 months from a 1-node cutting. So it's a good grower. And I couldn't remember if I had Hoya Sprinkles, but this is another Hoya Sprinkles I had. And I have a really big one. It's kind of hard to move it around sometimes because it gets all tangled up and all the other stuff. And this is Hoya Haley. It's another Carnosa hybrid, I believe. And it has, I don't know if you can see it, it has really nice textured leaves. It gets splashed, really good grower. That's Hoya Haley. And I actually got this one from the person that it was named after. This is Hoya Patsy. And as you can see, Patsy. The leaves have this amazing wave to them, and they're pretty splashy and pretty big. Uh, it's quite gorgeous. And I got this about, oh, 2, 3 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. And all all that vine and those 4 leaves are new growth. So it's a really good grower as well. So I don't give a lot of Hoya care instructions on my videos because my growing situation is different than probably 85% of all the Hoya growers that I know. And my conditions are so different that if I try to grow Hoyas like they do up north inside the house, they wouldn't do well for me because I don't have that much experience with them. I have experience with growing Hoyas outside for 18 years, but so that's how I grow them, and they do well for me. So they grow here in the outside, and it rains in the summer like constantly, so they have to be in a very chunky mix if they are going to be under a tree where they get water all the time. So the trick is to have a very porous mix, so when it rains, all the water goes through the pot, and the roots have some air circulation around them. This is Hoya Cotton Candy. It's an MB hybrid, 1173-407. Really looking forward to this guy to bloom. It's a really nice long vein, so I'll probably put it in the sun. So that's Cotton Candy. And this is a new acquisition I also got from Patsy on a trade. And this is Hoya Owen. And as you can see, it's really nicely rooted and growing. And if you go back a few videos when I did a Crowell Smith show, you'll see the mother plant of this. I did go over to the booth, Koko Ranch and Patsy's booth, and they showed me this huge mother plant, and the flowers on it are quite interesting because they have some green tones in them. So check out that video if you want to see that. All right. I don't think I showed you Dalton Henry on the last one, but I wanted to show you a Hoya that was grown in too much sun and what happens to it. So Dalton Henry usually has these really nice green leaves with lots of splash. And you can see this was getting too much sun, so it started to get yellow. And it was growing in too much sun, so the leaves are pretty yellow. So if you have your carnosa in too much sun, the leaves will turn whiter in color. And that's to protect the plant from being sunburnt. And this is all new growth that happened under too much light. And you can see the splash in there, but it doesn't contrast well because it's too pale of a leaf. So I moved it about a week ago, and I will update you as to when the leaves start going back to a normal, prettier green color. So this is Dalton Henry. And this is grown in shade, grown in too much light. And there's some odd ones back here that this one I got from Susan maybe like 8 years ago. The label's pretty old. She called it Cassidy, and it looks like it has some carnosa and pubicalyx. I haven't been able to bloom it because I hadn't had it in a really good location, so I've moved it recently to give it a little more light. And another thing about Hoyas is location, location, location. In my backyard, I know certain areas that if I place a Hoya, it'll grow so much better than if I leave it some other places. So it could be because the little microclimates, the amount of light it gets, the amount of attention it gets. So you got to play around and get to know your plants. So you listen to your plants they usually tell you what they need. If they get too yellow, that means that's too much light. If they're too dark green, that means they probably need a little more light. So yeah, they tell you what you need to do. So if you listen to them, that's my trick. And I do my landscaping based on the needs of my plants, not where I think they're going to look nicest in, but I listen to the plant and it usually tells me where it wants to be. So I'm really excited about this Hoya Michelle. It looks like a half moon splash leaf. And this is actually a Michael Bernardo's cross. So these newer leaves are not as splashy, but these older leaves are pretty splashy. So I moved it to another sunnier area and put out these two really pretty leaves. So that's Hoya Michelle. It's really nice, and it splashes quite nice as well. And this is a Michael Bernardo, and this is Hoya Silver Dollar. And some of these get really pricey. I think the average price for a node right now, basically just two leaves, rooted node in a tiny little pot, they go for about $1,000 at least. But it is stunning. It's almost covered in splash, so they call it silver. The new leaf here, when we focus in, see there's just a little bit of green behind that splash. And and that's it for my Hoyas that I acquired through Koko Ranch. A lot of it is because I traded with Susan or other people. Susan's only about an hour and 15 minutes north of me. I've been up to visit her, and I've extended the invitation for her to come and visit me, and she will be here someday. So that is the rest of my Koko Ranch Hoyas. And I wanted to show you guys because I'm really excited about this. This guy is a Hoya Pachaclata variegated. I just love that that raspberry coloring around, and I'm excited because it has a peduncle. It's quite a pretty Hoya. And my birthday was last month, and the last Hoya I'll show you today is this Hoya Crimson Queen that has a lot of splash. And I was really excited to get this Hoya because in pictures it doesn't do it justice. When you look at it in person, it's a lot more stunning, and I think they are calling it Ghost Queen. And it has a little new growth on there, as you can see. So I will see if the variegation continues on this beauty here in my Florida garden. I have it in this really good spot. This is prime real estate for good growth. I have it behind my Philodendron that I'm trying to bloom. This is Philodendron, you can see it there, macroglossum. So that's about it for my video today. I hope it's not too long. I know there's a million videos on YouTube, and I appreciate that you chose my video to watch. And please like and subscribe and come back to my channel. I have a new video up every Sunday, at least. Sometimes I do a video on the middle of the week if I have something to show you guys. So have a wonderful Sunday, and I will see you next week. Bye bye.